Hey everybody! I am painting today and I am doing Marvel United. I decided that I want to paint something else, but I have not had the time to actually put anything together. There are a few things, maybe there's some, I mean there's definitely game minis that I could paint, but I really want to paint, I kind of want to paint Shatterpoint or Marvel Crisis Protocol. I mean, they are minis that I need to assemble, which is exciting. I haven't really done a ton of GW stuff lately, which definitely requires you to assemble, which I like to do. I mean, I really like to assemble, and I like to make sure that I get things pretty clean. Gator Day was I'm doing good and Nikki's doing better. Giant face. Okay. It is true. We'll go to the stuff in a minute. I have gotten through a lot of the minis, and I've started painting twos of things. I had done. Let's actually cut to the table. Get to the right thing. I've been doing twos of stuff for a little while now, and I'm going to be doing threes soon. If we had had time before Gen Con, I would have gotten Scott's miniatures as well to do. But yeah, I've been doing a lot of pairs, which is cool. I actually really like it because it's a challenge to see how well I can do trying to make them similar, right? They were airbrushed at different times, almost every one of these. I'm looking forward to getting to the point where I'm airbrushing all three of them at the same time so I get the undercoat the way I would really like it. But I still have about 15 of the very first wave to paint for myself. But now that I'm doing all of the others, now Scott painted a bunch of his own. He was actually doing it faster than me there for a while, so I don't know. But yeah, Nikki's doing better. Tuesday was kind of a little of a bummer because she just wasn't feeling good, and by the end she was really out of it. And I was trying to get stuff done, but you can't. It's only so much you can do. I have been painting this Carnage, and I switched. I got kind of far on him, not really that far on last week, Tuesday, I think, right? I can't remember what happened on Thursday. Did I? We didn't stream. Maybe I painted. Maybe that's when I painted. I don't know. But I've been working on him. He is hard. The webbing is very challenging. But I've been trying to do a decent job. There's definitely some stuff I have to fix, but I knew I had painted a little bit of black on one of the tentacles. I will get to that in a bit, but it's a cool mini for sure. I mean, it is assembled so you can see here there's a pretty massive gap in his arm. This side's okay. But what are you going to do? That's how the jaw here has a gap. You could fill them. I think I would need putty. I don't really have anything like that anymore. I used to have blue stuff and green stuff all the time. Gray stuff, actually, I think was really gray and green. But all that stuff is dried up, so I am trying to decide if I should go get some, but I'm going to just go with this as it is. It's totally fine. The one that is most egregious here is this one here, and you really won't necessarily see it too much, although I am seeing that I should put some red in there in that gap and then maybe the black on top of that. But yeah, it's a challenge. I do wish I had I can't remember if this is, I think this is from the main game, so I should have primed it, the other one that I had, because it's from the first wave. It's not from Spider-Man or the Spider-Geddon box. But I do look forward to, there is the new promo box. It's not a promo box. It is. It's got promos from It's got promos that they had done over the past few years at Comic-Con and stuff like that. and it's a $30 box. It's going to have Agatha Harkness, which is a new mini, but then like recasts of like Hulk, not a new mini, but he'll be in gray because it's Gray Hulk, and there's an some of the, you know, like I think the do I have it sitting here? The what is his name? Good gracious. They cast him in a good gosh, who is it? Juggernaut. So yeah, he's in probably a purple or a blue one, I guess, probably purple. This one here was a villain. So they've got a new version of that, and it's just the same. I thought they said there were 2 new minis, but I'm not certain of that. I haven't really dug into it. This is kind of out of focus. But yeah, I'll paint him, so you know, maybe I'll give him a different scheme. I'll look at the cards. I think I have the Juggernaut cards. I think they're already red, so we'll figure it out. That's the biggest issue, right? Is that you lose the color of the base. I did paint like a road stripe on this one. I thought that was kind of interesting, and so I did it now because then when I coat it, do the gray that I normally do on these, I will put some inking on that and to dim it down a little bit. Although it's pretty good right now. I wanted it to be kind of loose. Turned out cool. Hey Ahmad, how you doing? So yeah, the mini is actually pretty neato. I mean, there's definitely some loose, like here, you can't see that. Yeah, paintbrush is not helping. You know, there's mold problems all over mold line problems all over the place, but I think it'll be fine. So let me first touch up that little bit of gray so that I was going to prime, well, like I said, I wanted to do something else just to break it up. I mean, I always want to paint the Marvel United minis. I'll be painting them for probably till I pass away. Because there's so many, and I've got the DC ones coming soon, next year, not soon. Because I backed that whole thing. And I think I backed the playmat as well. I do not know what I'm thinking. Brian, my friend Brian was like, yeah, I don't need that stuff. And he's 100% right. I mean, I actually convinced him not to get the new tokens, because the tokens aren't new. There's only, in the main ones, there's one token that is the Joker. So you flip it over. He's part of the thugs, and so I'm going to trim this off because it just looks weird to me. It's pretty strong. And then I'll just paint that gray, and it'll look a little better. But yeah, you flip it over, and then it becomes the Joker. And the issue was they wanted it to match, but what they did is they included 4 stickers so that you could just touch it up touch it up. You can add that on there and on one of the existing thugs, and then it should blend in, and that's fine with me. I really didn't want to buy the whole thing for another set because I already have a lot, just to get a whole bunch, just to get one token and have a bunch more. Now, Brian was bothered by the fact that he wanted, he realized after the fact that maybe he should have gotten more because he was splitting up the tokens in the game, so that you could pull out the game and then have what you need. But I'm definitely gonna use the new box from GameNight. It's the Token Silo XL that's coming out in October, and I was telling them that we were thinking of trying to do another Marvel United. I'll do one of the new. We'll probably do the multiverse one or something. I need to paint all those too. But I just was thinking that we would use that, and it would be good to show it off because, man, that bin is great. Those are truly fantastic. We have a couple that we personally bought to make, to leave in a game. Something that we play enough that we felt, and what I use it for so far is Elder Sign. Because I used a standard one, the standard token silo. But it is such a great bin. And the new one is like kind of upgraded in many ways. They now have clips all the way around, and they needed to because it was going to be big. And it would bow and pieces would fall out. So I'm eager to actually get one. I don't think we saw one at Gen Con. They'll have them at Spiel. But it is cool. I mean, they definitely have some great stuff. So yes, we do think about using their gear when we can, especially something like that. And I'll probably use their new. So they have these really fantastic dividers with size morph. They have these ones called size morph where they have foam. And I'll probably use those for the cards. And the deal is the new ones are horizontal, where the other ones were vertical. Oops, this is not in focus. So meaning like I would store. Well, I haven't really dealt with all the storage that I want to do for Marvel. I might 3D print. There's a great set on Thingiverse where the guy has done both of the first two waves. I don't know that he's going to do the second one. He does a lot of stuff, and I can't, unless he backed it himself, I can't imagine he's going to do it. But man, I definitely want to float some money to that guy's way because he has really done some great inserts. Now, 3D printing them is the challenge. I have 3D printers. I just don't know that I want to spend all the time to 3D print them. I have to make a decision. But the nice thing is he's reduced it in the first two waves. He reduced all those boxes. I mean, I've got them here. There's a lot. And so he's probably halved how many boxes he has, which for some folks that's frustrating to throw out the box. But I mean, you don't have to throw out the box. You can save it. But we'll see. But we've been going pretty well. Nikki felt a lot better today. Still sinus problems. It's really what her issue is. I'm doing fine, but I rarely get sick. But she was not feeling great, and then to be struggling with, she hasn't gotten a sinus infection for a long time. She's actually been really fortunate, but lately, this meant, this too much folks at the, like interaction with people. And the other really, I think the strong issue is we wear masks at the event, and we did at Gen Con, and you're talking through the mask, and that is just terrible. Like it is, my voice gets hoarse, not hoarse, but a little raw just from so much talking through the mask. We have one friend that's been sick, has had COVID, got COVID, and is still struggling with it. I'm looking forward to going, though, to Germany. It's really just about a month away for us, which is crazy. What's really exciting is we are going to have a booth again this year, which is really awesome. We haven't had a booth at any con since 2019. Oh, well, we didn't have a booth at Gamma. We went to Gamma in 2020, but we didn't. Oh no, that's not true. We had a booth in Con. We did a booth. Our last booth was Con 2020, and we live streamed. So I always think we were done in 2019, but we weren't. We actually did do that, and that's, you know, I miss it actually. I think it was a good for folks that couldn't go to see what was going on. And the downer is not enough people watched. One of the things we did is we split off our live stream to what was it called? Board Game Geek Express, I think. And that channel's still there, but we actually probably, well, it's not the same. We really shouldn't split our videos, but because we did do, Derek and Candace did a bunch of stuff at Gen Con, which is cool. And so we put out maybe 10 or 15 videos from that. I think they're done with it. I'm sad that we don't have Derek going to Spiel because it would help, but it's too late now. We should have thought about it because they did a great job. The camera they used was nice. And they mostly covered what they were, Candace was excited to see. And I think they mostly did it in one day. They might have done it a couple days. But we were not involved in it. I mean, they have video of me playing pinball, because one of the days, I think on Saturday, what did Nikki do? I think she actually went to the hall and shopped the art stuff and the jewelry. She was actually thinking of trying to buy a ring, and she didn't find anything. They were mostly rings for men, which is unfortunate. So she went into the hall to do that, and I, for about 45 minutes, played pinball. It was fun. It was really neat. They had a tournament that they were doing where you could win a trophy. I would have liked to have, I think I did okay on, I would not have won, but I think I did pretty good on Bond, 007. And I had the #1 score, which is not high enough, for Aerosmith. I think that's the one I was playing when they came by. And I would love, that would have been fun, but I could have played again and maybe made I didn't actually see what the grand champion score was. But there were some people really seriously going for it, so the one guy's like, making sure I didn't beat his score, but I was, I don't remember what machine it was. Maybe it was Deadpool. I might have been just playing Deadpool to try to get a badge. So they have achievements and badges in their app, which is truly awesome. But I didn't. I don't remember exactly what I needed to do. And then there was John Wick. I was playing John Wick. Had a few things as well. I actually wish I could play John Wick more. So we played it before Gen Con. And there was, so what they have in John Wick is contracts. So you're basically out to get somebody, right? as it is in the movie, but it's usually, you know, like activate this multi-ball 4 times or something, you know, I mean, we had one that was really hard that we were trying to do, and we didn't do. And then I tried to play it to beat, just to get a basic contract, which there's hundreds of those, you know, a couple hundred of those available, I think, at least. Maybe the one I was doing wasn't even that, and at the time. And I could not make the multi-ball. There was this multi-ball that you have to do at the that involves going up this narrow ramp, and it just and the worst part is, you know, when you go in for the other ones, you have do you have experience painting in your past life before BGG? Absolutely, Jester J Joker. As a matter of fact, here's one I painted probably 24 years ago. It's not as interesting. This was literally the first stuff I was painting. I did not have any sense of, I mean, I did a nice job on the gem, but I didn't really have any sense of shading and all that. I think because I had painted when I was really young, World War II stuff. I would like to find those because they're here, I'm pretty sure. But I'd like to see, because I remember, you know, those are painted with enamels, and I actually recall doing a pretty great job, you know, for a kid. And I would like to see what they look like. I also had painted a snow speeder from Empire Strikes Back that I don't think I finished, but I did this crazy job on the cockpit. And I believe that was done with enamels as well, because I remember not really digging acrylics that were out there at the time that much. I absolutely painted with acrylic paint, not much after that when I was studying design. But I like to paint. I wish I could paint more. We just have been so busy and travel. Whoa, golden purple shine no. It was my own craft world idea at the time, and I got a lot painted, but I ended up painting almost 2 full armies of Necrons. 1 army of Necron and 1 army of Dark Eldar or Eldar. No, they're called Drukhari now. That was for Nikki, and I painted a lot of units, and those were more intricate, for sure. Way better than the first ones I painted of the Eldar here, or the Eldari as they're called now. I walked through the Warhammer booth at Gen Con, and I just was like, I cannot buy anything. I really do not need more minis. What is going on here? My water. But yeah, I just couldn't. I didn't buy anything. I actually was going to buy some Shatterpoint. They had a really great sale at a store right near there that was actually, oh man, we did not go visit that guy, dang it. Who came up to talk to us at the store and was telling us to come by the store because they are also doing games. And we didn't go. I feel terrible. I did talk to him a long time at the store, but I didn't buy anything. I was really very, very adamant to not get anything because I don't have room. And I saw there's it's not really Space Hulk, but they have a new game that is a redo of one that had, it's called, what is it called? Tyranid Attack, I guess, which there was an old game called Tyranid Attack, I think before my time when I was into GW. Before, I mean, I still am in it, GW. But man, I'm really sloppy here. Wonder if this is not the holder for me. I do have the fatter, older mini holder. Maybe, let me try it. I have lots of mini holders. Too many. But yeah, they have a new one that's available at Target, and I kind of want to get it just to see what it is, you know, because I didn't get the other one. I don't even know when that came out. The Tyranid Attack. No, it's Tyranid Attack now. Whatever the dark, the Necron one is. But I would like to check it out. And it wasn't terribly expensive. Maybe $40 or $50 at Target. We were there the other day. So this week we put out a game night, date night that we played. We played A Gentle Rain, which I'm almost positive Nikki played it before, but she does not 100% remember it. We played the original version that was from Mondo Games before Mondo closed, and their game division. I mean, they got bought by Funko, so I don't really know what's going on with them. I know they're still doing posters, which is great, because they weren't doing those for a while. But we really liked it, and so we wanted to get one, and we kind of wanted to get the one we played with, which is the Blossom edition, which has, you know, plastic pieces. And so we went to Target, because that's where that's sold, at least here in the United States. And so we saw that Games Workshop one, and they had the Space Marine one that came out last year, which I have. And I think the deal is you could combine those, because there's a good chunk of Space Marines in the excuse me, not Space Marines. There's one Space Marine in that game, Space Marine, Titus or whatever. They have a bunch of Tyranid in there. So I think you can, you know, you have tokens, which I'm not sure if it's really like Space Hulk. You know, Space Hulk, which I've played a few times, and I really love. You don't know what's coming. It's basically like Aliens. You just see the blips, and you don't know if it's gonna. You know it's Tyranids, you just don't know how many. So in that game, it could be 1 to 3. And it only recently came out, so there wasn't a lot of, other than people saying it was a redo of the Necron one. There wasn't a lot of feedback, so I don't know exactly what it offers. But I would like to try to do that one, and maybe if it's Space Hulk enough, like, we could do that on Game Night or something. The downer is, you know, because it does 1 to 4 players. So that's why I think it's not like Space Hulk, right? Because Space Hulk is you versus the Tyranid, so it's 2 players. We painted those Scots. Well, I painted my set, started it, and got through the Space Marines. I was actually, you know, the Terminators and stuff that came with that. And I was nervous about painting the Tyranids, so I didn't do that. But before BGG Con in 2009, I went to Dallas and brought my painted command set. And then the 3 of us painted the Tyranids, and that was just such a fun deal. I miss being able to do that. Funnily enough, I mean, that was closer to me painting minis back in the day than it now, right? Because it's 2009. That was 15 years ago. But I always show one of my Terminators that I painted, that is the ones that the blank ones that I got, you know, that I got to paint on my own. And I have painted 4 of them, or 3, you know, 2 of them pretty complete and 2 other ones close, but there's not many more to do with that. I just have to paint all the Tyranids. Although I have painted a bunch of the new Tyranids from the Space Marine thing last year. GW sent me that set. And it was great. It's really fun. It was they actually did a couple of great things last year. They had an introductory set with really a good mix of paints, like 5 or 6 bottles, all good sized ones, you know, the standard, instead of, like, I've had ones that have the small bottles that are not very full of paint. I mean, I have one right here of the bottles. The other ones, and they're terrible. This was like, and it's not very big, so I labeled it Lead Belcher because they had it in the tray. This was some orc one, and I don't even think they have Lead Belcher anymore, which is too bad. That was one of my favorite colors. This is Carnage, Horns fan. I really do not need more minis, famous last words. It's true, I try very hard not to go crazy. Arkham Horror minis, huh? So Aaron has, like, I think he has most, if not all, of the Arkham Horror minis, and Scott does too. And at the time, I know they came painted, but maybe they offered them both painted and unpainted. I would love to buy some Investigators. They don't have to be, you know, because they aren't making those anymore. That would be really awesome to have some of those on hand. I've seen some 3D printed ones that somebody was selling, like, on Etsy, and they look pretty good. I don't feel you need to have every, wow, that is really dry already. I don't feel like you have to have every character. As fun as that would be, just some of them would be nice. So if I could find 10 good ones. I think I saw, because I kind of deep dived into this a couple years ago, I think I saw some stuff on one of the model sites that you could purchase the STLs and print them. And I could do that. I mean, I have a 3D printer, I have several 3D printers, but I have one resin one that would be good for that. And so maybe I'll do that at some point. I would really like to have some Investigators. Now the reality is what I really should do is just have Aaron bring his over. Although I think he now has them back home in Southern California. He had them up north because he was living up north for a while, and I think they were in storage. Is there a version of Venom that looks like this? I don't really know Venom well. I do have the Venom villain to paint here. And I was hoping to get to him today. I would like to. He's kind of basic, you know, a lot of black. I'm actually surprised I didn't paint it before, because I was doing stuff that that were black minis at the same time, because I thought, oh, this will be interesting to try. And I got different results that were primarily black. I did, like, Spider-Man. I can't remember what this one's called, but he's really cool. It looks pretty good. I think I need to go back on some of the white, maybe. But yeah, I had done this one here that I think was in that set as well. Oops. But yeah, the Spider-Man set's really awesome. I did get season 3. That showed up. If you look back on YouTube, and it might even still be on Twitch, but Nikki and I did an unboxing where we just opened all the minis, you know, all the boxes, and looked at the minis. I had gotten the whole wave. Crazy amount of stuff. And they're pretty awesome. You know, I mean, I don't, like I say, I still have, oh my gosh, over 100 minis to paint for X-Men before I even get to it. Although, like I say, I might paint the main box to get so we can play it again on the show, which would be awesome. But I love painting these just because they are so, you know, mostly they're pretty decent minis and they are huge. You know, you can paint a lot of details that you wouldn't normally do. I mean, some people are very good about painting faces. I'm okay. And I'm doing these giant ones and I'm only okay compared to like the standard Warhammer stuff. But I actually should have probably painted the mouth, inside the mouth. It's kind of pink in the, so I'm looking at the miniature that's painted from Big Child Creatives, which is really great. You know, they do a nice job. Looking at Civil War right now, and wow, it has great sculpts. You know what's great about the new ones is, I think that, so most of these are from the first wave, and they had a different kind of plastic, and the new ones use a new style plastic. Now, I have supposedly painted some of them. I imagine they came out of that, but I don't have them right here. But I painted the X-Men the main X-Men box, and that was supposedly the new plastic. I don't know that I noticed it at the time. I'm pretty certain I knew that they were updated plastic. But the new ones look really good. I really would love to paint them and get started on it. But I've got so these are the ones that are actually next. And I might not paint these on the stream. I've already painted them, some of them on the stream previously, years ago, a couple of years ago now. But these need to be primed, and I was going to do that today because I'm trying to get through the ones that I have already done. But the downer is, like I said, I'm going to do Scott's as well. Now, we've only got 4 weeks, so I don't know how far I'm going to get. But once we get back, when we go to BG Con Fall, I will try to bring his home and get going on him. I really need to, first of all, I have a little setup, and I don't know where it's at, that I can take into the house, and I need to do that. Like, we see my mom most every weekend, and so I don't really want to go out here and not hang out with her. So maybe what I do is I make my little portable tray and stock it with the paints I'm going to need for that. Try to get as many of the ones without going crazy for the minis I'm going to paint, and then just paint with my mom there. I mean, she's come out here too, but in the studio, it's just not as great of an environment for her. Definitely not as comfortable. I mean, she used to sit when we were recording sometimes on the weekends, and most of the time now she just leaves when we get started to do that if we're going to film on the weekend, because it's not comfortable for her to sit that long, which is a bummer, particularly when we do it on a Sunday. I just got paint on his tail, his tentacle again. Good gracious. Well, you get to see me fixing it a couple of times today. It's really not a big deal. I might do a little bit more shading and stuff on these. There's some pretty cool stuff they did on the Big Child ones. So I might do that, but we'll see. I definitely going to do the gray on around his eyes and stuff here, hopefully soon, because I want to paint that, and that'll be a standard paint. And I'll paint this gray again and then put the red on it, and you shouldn't have any problem with it. But I really like doing this method of the zenithal undercoat. But am I getting it on there too again? And then painting the contrast speed paints or speed paints over it. They work pretty great, and I've only recently got to try the speed paints, and they're pretty nice too. I used on this, I used the orange, this is Fire Giant orange on this here, because nobody had the red. I feel that this red here is kind of close to it. I want to try it out and see. This is, but nobody had it. Nobody had it, and it wasn't available at the store in town when we were in Germany. And so I borrowed it from a lady that was, it was a paint day that our friend Sebastian ran. And I borrowed hers, and it was, I was like, wow, this is pretty good. And so we were trying to buy that specific one because, you know, this, that was the first wave and this is the second wave. But I haven't had a real chance to see if it matches. I'm sure it's fine, but I would also like to try the Griffhound orange and see how that, is that what it's called? Griffhound orange, yeah. And see how that looks. I'm pretty certain it's close. It's a little messy in here. Yipes. I don't want to think about getting in there, but I will. So I'm using a very fine brush, which I don't use as much anymore. But I was having some troubles with it when I was painting the red and the black the last time on the stream, because it was definitely challenging. Goodness gracious, it's so, this area here is not greatly well defined, the lines, so again, it doesn't really matter. There's another mess right there that I probably should fix. Let me get the gray open and just touch those up, because then I can let it dry. Hey, Valian. Let's play Helldivers 2. I've never played it. I've watched people play Helldivers 2. Scott was playing it one time. I haven't played an online video game for a long time. We used to always play. We used to play with Scott. I think my last, I mean, it was 10 years ago. Oh no, more than that. We were playing Left 4 Dead. I wish they would do another Left 4 Dead. We really had a great time. Nikki had fun with it. Maybe. So let's see if I even have a gray that's the right tone. I can take a break here from these. Oh, wait, let me make sure there's some not other red spots that I want to touch up. Oh, I saw like a, let me fix that too, because it's kind of, although it might be too bright, but it's okay. These things are pretty small areas, so you're not going to see the shading as great as you would like. Wow, I just got it on the black though. Boo. Easy enough to fix. Woof, okay, there's one spot. That arm is so messy. So I'm eager to see what the others look like. Because this is just a kind of a messy figure in the arm. Like I said, the glue, this one is not glued well. So it looks better now that I've kind of painted, I painted the red, so if I paint some black on it, it should be fine. But yeah, I want to look for a gray. I don't have a, I don't have all the grays that they offer from, I actually like to have some pre-mixed grays that miniature, not miniature, market, Monument Hobbies has. I have this one here, bright neutral gray, but that's it's too bright. It's very much like this color here. You can see, they're different though. This one's got it's even, oops, I'm sorry, not in the shot. It's even brighter, so I'm not sure that that would be what I want. I do have the gray primer that I use. Do I have any other grays? I would like to get them. I think I have mostly the metallics. So I have like all the transparent colors that they offered. I believe I have all of them. And then I have, I guess I'll just mix a gray. It's nice to have it though, so that when you go back you can match it. Now, it's not that much of a challenge to mix, but it would be a little better. But you know, it's not necessary. You can absolutely do all this stuff on your own. His face looks very messy. And I still have his full arm to do over here, pretty much. So I'm not going to worry about the gray right now, since I don't have one. I do have the light one. I thought I had another one, though. I could probably use the primer that I have. So I have primer from too much. I would love to try some other primers, but I'm not buying any because I have a lot of the Badger's Stynylrez, and those are great. I really, really like them. But I want to get through the much stuff I have, because I have large bottles. You could, if you're going to paint a lot of minis and you're priming them, then probably some of those large bottles are worth it. I thought I would burn through more than I actually have. I was going to do the tongue. What pink do we have around here? Let's see what this color's like, because I want to do the mouth. Did I shut these off? I did not. I was actually listening to some music, which I don't get to do very often. But I'll leave them on all weekend if I don't turn it off now. Horns fan, if you're still there, did you get all of season 3? I really agonized over it, and I did again on the DC United ones. I don't really. Oh, that's very purple. Wow, that's a great color though. But I don't want that to be the color I use. Maybe Purple Alchemy. These are not really pink. They have familiar pink. I'll try Purple Alchemy, and I'll thin it down. I really thought about whether I would go for the whole DC United. It's called DC Superheroes United or something like that, or DC Heroes United. And I thought about it for a while, but I'm glad I got it. It's just all the other stuff do I really need? Because they actually, as I was talking about the tokens earlier, they made a separate set that was all the new stuff from the campaign. Wow, this is breaking down. That's not a good sign. Weird. Wonder what I've done there. It's only doing it on that one. Maybe I did something wrong. But yeah, I ended up going for everything except for maybe a few things. Oh, great. This is the other thing about these. There's something dried up in there. And you know what I should have done is poked a little paper clip in there or a needle, and it squirted out a bunch. So that's pretty purple. What is it called again? Alchemy. Purple Alchemy. Well, I would say that that's a purple. So there's how much I put out, and I need the tiniest amount. Let me see here. One cool thing you can do is, as long as it's not in a, did I put it in the bad reservoir? I think I did. Not that it's bad, but oh my gosh, I'm making a mess. But you can suck it back into the bottle, which is good. I got reduced by half, which is better than it was. I like the eyedropper bottles, but that's one of the things you have to think about is you, especially with these bottles, they have mixing balls. All of the speed paints, the Army Painter speed paints, and all their paints nowadays have mixing balls, which is great, but you can have problems where you're squeezing and squeezing, and I should have known because I've had it happen on other bottles, but not these so far, that if something's blocking it, you can have a big burst of the paint come out. So I can actually use the dark color for the roof of the mouth. But I generally mix the paint to be gosh, I got purple on the tooth right away. I thin it down a little bit. It's not really thinning it down, but it's diluting, it's lessening the impact of the color. Wow, that is really purple. And I feel that it's, in my, most of the time, now I've been painting the red here, full strength out of the bottle. Because I know that I want that to be as bold as it can be. And I will generally do a second coat even, which will make it very, as strong as it's gonna possibly be on the gray. But in this case, like, I know I want them to be, I painted some other mouth and I did not get what I wanted out of it. So I think I'm having the same problem here. I don't think I have a pink. Is there a pink from, well, there's the Doom Magenta. It's kind of the colors they seem to ignore in these paint lines, which is unfortunate. Now, because I'm adding it, I can build it up here. Oops, you can't see it. I can build, oh, you know what it was? I think it was a dinosaur that I was working on that I did the mouth. I did the Jurassic Park, or the Jurassic World Legacy of Isla Nublar minis. Gosh, was it 2 years ago? I think it was. Or maybe a year and a half ago. I miss Funko doing stuff. They actually had a new game, so it's probably something that was already in development and was nearing release. At Gen Con, they had one, and two maybe, and I would like to check them out, but I was a little bummed because we really like their stuff. That's pretty good. We'll let that dry and see what it turns out as. Interesting. Hope painting's going smoothly. I was wondering, and I hope you haven't had to answer this a million times, are you and the gang going to play ARCs? So we have answered a few times. I'm not certain what we're going to cover, but we are, Candace would like us to do it, and I'm hoping, you know, we're waiting for Nikki to feel a little bit better. I'm hoping we can film it before we go to Spiel. And it's okay to ask. I mean, you know, people would like us to play it. We've had people asking for a couple months now, and Candace was telling us how much, because she had early access to the game, and so we'll have to check it out. Scott was a little worried about it just because he knows, he's like, it's confrontational, and I'm like, that'll be okay, as long as we know going in that it's, some people, I mean, I don't, none of us really love to just bash each other, but Dave in particular is not a big fan of that. So, but if we had Aaron, he would probably have fun with it. So maybe we will do that. Man, I gotta tell you, I don't know what I'm gonna do for this gray. I really wish it was mixed. I could maybe make a mix in, you know, 50-50 and then see how that goes. It's okay. Again, you don't have to stress too much about it. Yeah, hopefully we'll get to it. Methandriel. Wow, okay. Don't know. You can't tell me how you pronounce it. Oh, hey, you paid some bits for the message. You don't have to do that. Thanks for asking, though, and thanks for the support. But yeah, Aaron would probably be better. Aaron actually appreciates those kinds of games a lot. I think I put that darn thing in the reservoir that it's not doing well. I want to try to avoid using that one. I wonder what the heck happened there. I mean, you know, this is silicone. These are not inexpensive. But I did give away the other one that came with it. I got two when I bought this. to Nick, and I will probably have to buy some more. I like these though, but I don't know if they've lasted that long for it to be breaking down already. Okay. My problem is I end up mixing a lot of paint when I do this, and I do not want that much paint. Although I am painting a good amount of gray, so maybe? I do wish we were going to do a little bit more of Europe. We couldn't do it, but we should have gone on the BGG cruise that started in Barcelona. Some folks that we know did go, but we didn't get to go. We just couldn't. So I'm mixing 50-50. I'm gonna have to put a little bit of, it's pretty thick. Their paints are generally pretty solid from the get-go, but I will use a tiny bit of the airbrush thinner and distilled water. Let's see if that does it. Have to ask, did you pledge for, I did. Horns fan, I did exactly the same thing. I was going to just do like the $100 level, and that's what I did and I just didn't really pay attention other than to be disappointed they weren't putting out stuff that I kind of wanted. And, but when they introduced the all-in pledge, I went for it. But it ended up being $500 something, which is just crazy. I love this game, but it is not worth $1,400 or $1,500. I don't know how much I've done it, 200 and something. And then the second wave was like 400 and something, so that's 600. So maybe $1,100 or $1,200. I mean, that's a lot of money for this game. And it is just for obsessive crazies like myself that want to have, you know, as much of the, I mean, I love the minis. They're all just fantastic. And so ultimately that's, I don't think this is dark enough. It's fine. I do wish that I wasn't so, you know, I'm not one of those crazy, the collecting and painting yeah, it's fun. I mean, you know, we generally do stuff, we buy the stuff for game night most of the time. Sometimes we get it from the publishers, but because, you know, we want to focus on what we're excited about. So the challenge is we don't want to be playing a game that people aren't enjoying themselves on, and that's the risk of taking submissions. Occasionally we'll get asked and it'll be something we want to do already, and so that's fine. But we've only ever had one real true instance. Well, that's not true. Maybe two, where we played a game that was not liked. I don't mind some of the people not enjoying it, but for the most part, we don't want to be grumpy about a game, and so we generally avoid that. But I do wish, with all this, I do wish that Simon would send us stuff, but I get it. Why send it to a crazy guy who's already buying it all? It's really okay though. I mean, I don't back that many games anymore. I did back, so we did Ascending Empires when it was on Kickstarter, which was a redo of the game from 11 years ago or something like that. And I liked it so much I immediately backed it. I think it was $120, so. But generally I don't back as many games as I used to. I don't know, the problem, here's what the real problem is. Even for this, you can't get everything. And so if we feature something where, in this case, at least you can get the base game. so far they've all been available. But if they don't offer that, like, it's not fun for the audience. And that's one reason why Kickstarters are a little frustrating for me, because if they do become available, number one, we did it already once. Recently, we did Thunder Road Vendetta Maximum Chrome, and you can't easily buy that one. As a matter of fact, I had to buy. They were going to send us something, maybe the main game, and it just got overlooked, and that's fine. So I bought it from a local person here that was going to be selling it at one of our games days in the area, which is fun. The next one's in October, end of the month. The last one was while we were in Indianapolis, the weekend we were in Indianapolis for Gen Con. And so they were selling it, so I bought it. You know, it was like we knew we wanted to do it. And so we had Nick and Mike, and that was fantastic, you know. Turned out to be a lot of fun. We really loved it. We played one of the expansions, and that is the problem. You know, some people can't easily get that, and that's a bummer. So that is my frustration with Kickstarters. As much as I appreciate what they do for, you know, new companies to promote a game, you know, to develop, to release a game. Wow, these teeth are not as pointy as they are on the... They might have... Well, remember, when I'm looking at the picture, those are 3D printed. So they probably have sharper details. I have noticed some things change from Shuri in the first wave. Her guns were, you know, or gauntlets or whatever were different from the minis in the Kickstarter, and that's just because they probably couldn't manufacture them the way they had. I mean, you could if you broke the parts down into a bunch of different components, you know, like made it easier to cast those, but you know, they do these in relatively few parts. So yeah, I know that, I'm sure when they're making them, they're taking that into consideration. Yeah, look, his mouth's looking pretty good. They're taking that into consideration when they make it, but it doesn't always prove possible, right? You know, they figure that out. Man, that mouth is terrible. Okay. I'm going to try to do, I might end up using the light color just to do something with it that but I love doing these, and I really think they're fun. So I do agree that if you're into it, it's not a big deal. It's not that expensive. I mean, it's basically $1,100 to $1,200 over the last 4 years. But I will buy that one box for another $30 as soon as it's available. I was trying to find it at Gen Con. I don't think they had many of them. They might have had more of them at Comic-Con. And I'm sure there were some friends that went, but I wasn't really trying to. I think we were in Dallas when Comic-Con was happening, so it was too close to Gen Con. And I've never been to Comic-Con. I mean, we are relatively close. I know Deborah goes. I don't know if she went this time, because, you know, she often needs to, but she doesn't love the crowds. It's hard for her. She had more fun at Gen Con the first year, and I think she had fun the second year, but she just didn't get to she got sick and worried that, you know, she had COVID, so she didn't. But so she didn't get to see as much, but she loved Gen Con because she's more into all that stuff, right? Like, she's into the art and the games and the dice, you know, all that stuff as a D&D person. So it was more her speed. And so her and their son and her husband went and did some walking, and she walked with us a bit. The first year she was there for fun. Last year, she didn't go this year. The last time she was actually participating in several RPG sessions, and so like I think people could pay to play with them and stuff like that. I volunteered for Comic-Con. Nice, 2010 to 12. I thought Nikki went because, you know, she used to work for a John Kay, the guy that did. She was an animator after she got out of college. The guy that did Ren and Stimpy. But she went to another event like that. And I must have been either working or I don't know what the deal was, but I didn't go. She went with my brother's girlfriend. And as I recall, once I started to think about it, I'm like, oh yeah, it was in LA, so I think it was downtown. So maybe it was another WonderCon or something like that, maybe. We've never done that one either. We've been down there meeting people that wanted to meet up, so we went and dinner and stuff like that, but we did not go to the event. But that's where Kevin met Deborah, so, which was awesome. That's the crazy part. I was thinking about it the other day, that Deborah has been on, this is her 6th season of our show, which is a long time. I have a lot of the purple. I wish I had something else I wanted to paint purple. So the reality is I could use a larger, and this is actually working out because the paint is staying pretty, it's enough paint for me to paint this, but you can paint it with the larger brush. I was using larger brush that had a fine point, but I just wanted a little bit more control because I was having, particularly with the black, I mean, I'm okay painting this stuff. This is not easy. This is probably one of the more complicated ones. But it looks neat when it's getting done here. It sure looks cool. But I can see still, like, you know, messes here. Hey, thanks for the on-screen celebration. I don't know why I'm not seeing these. I thought I tested this. Let me double check. But thank you so much for the support, for the bits. I don't know. Let me try, see, these are old. Let me see if I refresh and some other stuff shows up. Nope, these are old. This is an old one. I'm sorry, it's not. Mithrandriel? Dirial? Okay, let's see. So yeah, that one pops up. I wonder why the other things didn't pop up. Anyway, thank you so much. This kind of looks like Eddie Van Halen's guitar, his old guitar, when it's got a little bit of white on there too. I saw a picture of somebody's on Reddit of somebody's Cybertruck that had that pattern on it. That was kind of interesting. You know, the wrap. We are definitely eager to play Jackie's game. We still haven't had a chance to play it. We have it, but we have not had a chance to play it. We did get to hang out with Jackie at Gen Con. It was great. I don't know. I know she's been before, but I don't think we've hung out with her, which is, I think she's been before. I shouldn't say no, she's been before. There's so many people. What was actually shocking is how many people we ran into. Stephen Bonacore was saying he did not see us, and I'm like, oh, we were there. He's like, you guys didn't go. I'm like, no, we went. He goes, I remember last year that you were the first people I saw, because we were in the exhibit hall so the setup day is, well, Tuesday and Wednesday probably, but definitely Wednesday. And so we were in there collecting some games and having some meetings, because you know we collect games for the Hot Games Room, and they go to the BG library for fall in November, and those are the games we'll get from for Spiel. And though I think we're okay this year, it's still tight, but the con is actually, the good thing is it's not that tight. The convention is early. Next year, it's going to be late. It's like 3 weeks later. So it's going to be a tight squeeze. We've had a couple of those in the past, trying to get the games back to Dallas, before the con. And we've done it. But what we usually do is, like, any games that people take, you know, like, just in case we need them, like, we'll take some games home. And we'll definitely give them to the library if they're needed. But yeah, it's a challenge, you know, because we've shipped like pallets and pallets of games previously. I don't know how many we did. Last year, I think we shipped them in boxes. This year, we will probably be pallets. Because we have a partner that's helping ship the games right away. That is the biggest challenge, is just getting them through customs and all that stuff in time. Usually when they come to the States, it's not so bad. And we've had a delay, but we shall see. It would be terrible if we didn't have a lot of new games. Now, the good thing is we do get a bunch of them at Gen Con, so we already have quite a few titles that will be also new at Essen. But boy, it would be not fun. Hmm. Yeah, I actually asked Scott, I told him, I volunteered, I'm like, look, I'll do your minis because they're not going to get done if I don't do them. Now, again, I don't know how much he's going to get to play them because his group might not really appreciate them. He has a good group though. We've played it on streams, we've played it with friends. We did a show 3 years ago for the first wave with Aaron and Mike. What a mess. So you can fix it if you move quickly. You can pull the paint off. And it's not a big deal, but I got a little bit in the crook of his elbow there. And it wasn't great. Now I can see lots of little splotches of stuff that I didn't really get. Ugh. Just got it on the gray. Let's see if yeah, it's still damp. I did put the thinner, which will help slow the drying time. Woof, I did not finish. There's a lot of the arm still that I got to do. So I don't usually thin these with actual water, but I am thinning it a little bit here because I'm just trying to get it on without making too big of a mess. Wow, did I just do that and make it too big of a mess? Wow. Oh well, I can fix it once again. Now I'm noticing the eyes are not, they made them whiter, and I'm just using the undercoating, so I will probably put some white on them. I will do that after. That made a mess. You have to wait a little while, especially if you put the white down. Since I'm painting the gray actually dries better than standard white. For me with white, I use it all the time, but often I run into issues with it being chalky if I don't wait long enough. And believe me, all the time, I'm not patient enough for that, because I want to just cover it up and move on to the other stuff. But I noticed that gray definitely does a better job. And I was watching a video from Vincent Venturella, and he's saying you really don't need to use straight white, or dead white as he calls it, I think, because it's very difficult to, wow, this is really kind of messy. Because it's relative, it looks very white when you compare it to the rest of the stuff. And he's 100% correct. So maybe I will use the bright neutral gray for the eyes, and then it won't be as intense. I also have a different type of top. So these have the eyedropper bottles with this twist top, and it opens up in the, you know, and you come out of there, out of that with the stem in it. This is, I have to mix this actually. Wow, I don't, is it a snap? No, it's not a snap top. I have purchased some of these tops. This is a eyedropper with a cap. And in some ways, I think this works pretty great. And these have mixing balls as well. They're a little larger. I have not run into a problem with it bursting there, kind of like what I had earlier. Let's see though, let me make sure this is cleared. Oh, it's cleared. But let's see how white this looks comparatively. So there you go. And I feel these are a little bit better. I wish that you could just choose to have these bottle tops on them, but sometimes they're not great though. I don't know how fantastic they are for sitting. I think they have 3 different styles of tops. Oh yeah, they do. They have this one here that's the twist off cap. This one's the twist and it stays on. This is like a glue bottle. And they also have a flip top version, which might be pretty good as well. Let's get some distilled water. I need to label that. I actually have airbrush cleaner in another bottle that looks very similar. I shake it to see that if it's got white foam, excuse me, then I know that it's the cleaner, but I really want it. Thankfully the bottles are at different levels of fill right now, so I can tell. So this is not straight white. And maybe I can just do a little bit of white to really make it pop. So that really kind of looks like the other one that I haven't even touched up yet. So it's definitely not as white, which is totally fine. That's kind of what I want. That is dry already. Boy, that black, those speed paints dry quick, or contrast paints dry very quick. Slumping too much here. Ouch. I shifted the camera so it's not quite right, and I almost feel like I need to move the whole mat, but this is the same setup. I don't know what I've done. But let me put a little bit more of that purple in there before it's completely dry. I think it's pretty dry. Okay, now let me look at the teeth. So basically, they did a 50% one, of a lighter gray. So let's see if this looks okay. Hmm. I think I need to put gray on the inside here because his teeth don't. Too much pink. And white, which I did not, So I tend to put a little bit extra on the face so that it sticks out a little more. So I mean, meaning the highlight that I do, I'll put a little bit more than I probably you know, then you should, but I want the face to stick out more, right? I want it to be the focus of your miniature. So like this is kind of gray, and then if you notice I went a little crazy on the face just to give it a little bit more pop. This might be an instance where a better brush would do the job. My zero here of these brushes is getting tired. Not bad, but a little tired. You can see I'm still doing a sharp point. Wow, that's really bright. Oof. So you can see, if you look at these grays, one of them is warmer than the other, which is not great. But it's not critical either, you know what I mean? It isn't that big of a deal. Okay, back to the red. He looks pretty good though. So I recommend closing these bottles, which is a drag, but you should close them all the time, because you end up potentially knocking it down or spilling it, and it's really a pain, and it pours very quickly. That is the big difference between like these bottles and these bottles. These spill and you might have a drop, or these especially there won't be any paint, but if with speed paints you knock this over and you're barely gonna have any paint come out. But you knock down one of these, and I've done it on a stream, I've done it on a Discord painting thing. It's just terrible. It's far too easy to knock them down. I don't know that they make these anymore. I saw them last year at either, I think it was at Gen Con, but they might have been at Spiel. These are from GW, and they hold 3 of their bottles. And it's, I don't know that it's silicone, but it's rubber. It's rubbery. And so they're pretty great. It's fine. You can also, I've 3D printed these, and it's less likely to fall down, right? I mean, it's got enough base that it will hold it, but I really like these. But the great thing is because GW uses the same footprint on all their bottles, then the larger ones work in here as well. Now I sealed that back up when I wasn't necessarily done. Someone was suggesting that you paint the whole mini black and then the red, I think. And if you were doing standard paints, you could do that. I mean, you can, especially now with most modern paints, they are, oops, I'm sorry you're not seeing any of this. The paints are much better. Now, red is a challenging color. Red and yellow are really rough to get a solid. See, that's why I don't know that I would go that route. Maybe just paint the mini red and then come and paint the black. But the thing is, it's a lot easier to paint the red than it is to paint the black. So I could see where that suggestion probably is a good idea. Let me do just a tiny bit of white on the eyes. That might be too much, but I should put one of these tops on the, I did use the night neutral gray, so that I do need to use a white. I really don't need a lot of white. I'm gonna have a lot. This paint is I think this might be the first bottle of the Pro Acryl Monument Hobbies that I bought. I'm pretty certain it is the first bottle. That and black might have been, because I heard how great their whites were, and they're pretty awesome. Okay. So using the white over the other color is actually pretty great, because it's not, as long as I'm not trying to blend, and I am going to try to blend a little bit here, you can get some decent results. I'm not great with white. But the best bet is to not mix it too much to avoid it coming out kind of, and it is already doing it. It's a thicker, the pigment is just tougher to deal with. But that is all I will do on that. I'm not going to go crazy. So I might come in and do a little bit of orange on some of these, and that could be the highlights of the, do I have a straight? I do have the one orange, the Magma Flame or something. Magma Draw Flame. Let's just try a little bit of that and see if I can get some results and build it up maybe as a shade. So I did something like that on the Spider-Man, Ultimate Spider-Man. where I built up his legs here, the mechanical legs, with an orange. And it turned out pretty good. Now, I think I was using this orange, which maybe is what I should use. Why is this wet? And I just dropped it. Haven't used this in a while, so. It's not even an orange, it's a red. It's called Wild Rider Red, but I feel it's an orange. An orange enough for me anyway. But I'm going to try to use the contrast paint first. See how that is. I'm wondering if contrast paints are going to, one of the things I've tried on the speed paints is the metallics, and they're pretty awesome. So I'm wondering if GW is going to try to do a metallic, because it is pretty great on the Army Painter metallics. So this might not really, it's not very opaque. So it might need multiple layers to get it. It's a pretty great orange though. Now this might really require a more opaque orange. I got this one orange here. Is that a fluorescent? That is a fluorescent. I don't think I actually got it. I got this red. This was from the Rogue Hobbies set. And I got this orange and this red and this yellow. So I could make a great orange. Louise did a video mixing through the two sets and getting the whole spectrum of colors, and it was pretty great because she was doing where she was trying to match existing GW colors with those 6 paints, and she was doing a really great job. She gets color theory and all that stuff, so this is kind of looking orange. It might brighten it up a bit. So it looks like it's drying a little bit lighter. Might be overdoing it here. Lose some of the red. So one of the great things about these speed paints and contrast paints is that they are pretty great washes, or They're thicker than an ink, but you can do some buildup and get some pretty interesting results very quickly. And already I feel that that's added some visual variety to catch the eye. I'm really not sure. Like, I think these tentacles are propelling him. So you can kind of, brighten it back up. That's one of the interesting things about these is, you let the grayscale that you create when you do the undercoating, and that, well, I still miss that darn spot. It gives you the visual variety that you might want to make your mini look interesting. So you can bring the tone back up depending on the paint. Now this is an orange, so it's probably a single pigment or two pigment paint. So it isn't true, like the red is not truly a contrast. It's a contrast paint, but it doesn't function like a contrast paint kind of should. What they do is they settle into the crevices to give it. So this is I keep bringing this one out, but this is one that I did that did not do zenithal highlighting. The way I did it is I sprayed it with the gray sear undercoating. I like the cooler color. There's a warmer wraithbone. I think there was another color too, but they now have a white as well, a straight white. And this is just, you put the paint on it and you get these results. Look at the hair, this is wildwood, the color on this. Now I did do some shading where I started with a bit of the wildwood and then the Ionded yellow and then the plague bearer flesh. Is that right? I think that's what it's called. And so I was doing some blending. I did some blending here with the Aethermatic blue this is the undercoating, but I used some of the contrast medium to then be the light source. So I started over here and then blended them together. And you can get some great stuff that way. You don't have to do the zenithal highlighting. Now this mini is a little more successful because it's smaller, broken up organic kind of surfaces. This one here, it's got a bunch of feathers, it really it works. The contrast paints work. Same with the branch. Now I did the trunk here. I did dry brush and then put more color over it to give it some more visual variety. And that's a completely, use every method you have. And as you paint, you get better and better at getting, you learn something, you apply it to your next one, and it's great. Did I put the red away? I did. I need it still, but let me put. I don't want to get him messed up. The Superior Spider-Man, or Superior Spider-Man, I think. I really don't know Spider-Man. But you can see, look, that you can't even tell that I put that, because I'm going with a multi, shaded undercoating. You can't even tell that I had a problem there and that I, did something to fix it. It is pretty awesome. And I love it because you can go pretty quickly. This is a complicated mini. There's a lot, for me, a lot of stuff going on. I did okay. Try not to mess up too much, but as you can see, it's not that bad. You can fix stuff pretty easily. Yuck, I just got paint on my hand. Also my shirt here, which would be really a bummer if I got paint on it. So I have we have an apron that we got from I can't remember the game, but I'm gonna probably use it. Might as well. I was gonna buy they had a Darth Vader one that was kind of fun. It was $10. Because I'm not doing heavy work with it. I just want to make sure I don't get paint on my clothes. And I still may buy the Darth Vader one, but that one was just fun. Okay, so I put the away, and I still kind of need the orange. This one arm is really bad. It's very, and this is from the get-go. It was just not even because of the mold, the cast and everything that they've got going on it. So not great, but it's fine. I mean, this is turning out way better than I thought it was going to, because I was having problems with the black. So what I could do, instead of doing what I'm doing here, which is just putting it straight on, but the end result is not that bad. You can do, like I was saying, you can build it up where you start with a lighter color. Again, it's the same red, but the intensity is dropped by using the medium. And when you do that, then you just keep building it up till you get you kind of creep up on the color instead of just going bold and then being too strong, right? That's the big concern for me. So I'm gonna do the Basilicanum Gray on the base. And I'm going to do exactly what I'm talking about, where I'm going to put some contrast medium into it. Excuse me. Should have a sip of soda. Okay. So what I do is, you first put out the contrast medium, because the contrast medium you can get contrast medium into the paint and not really affect it, but you can't get paint. You can get some paint into the contrast medium, but so I use the end of a brush. And then I use the other medium. Now this is Basilicanum Gray, as I said. It is actually a gray, but I like it for a lot of things like leather. Already it might be too dark, but it's also hard to judge. You have to be used to it. It's not, you're not working with consistencies here. To like tell when it's ready, because I'm mixing two paints that are really kind of ready to go. But in this case, oh, hey, look, there's a tentacle on the ground. I do not think I should paint that. I generally go with the gray on the base. I've always, or often, do that and then pick out some colors sometimes that, like in the case of this stripe, that look kind of cool. So I thought, well, I'll just paint that on there. And that was in I believe that's what's going on in the photograph from Big Child Creatives. There is an interesting thing. So on the new DC Superheroes United or whatever, they have a book that tells you how they painted, their methods, which is great. But I'm not certain. I think I had the Loki one. They put on, I honestly feel it was on Big Child Creative's Facebook page that showed you how to do it. And I'm like, wow, I don't know that I bought that book, but I don't know that I needed it. It was not the method that I'm doing here. But I do want to see what they've done, so I'll be satisfied with it. So now I'm going to lighten it up, maybe even more, to do the stripe. I'm going to put a little bit in to do the cracks first, and then build it up, and then do a wash over the yellow. Not focusing. So putting I mean, you know, unless the stripes are brand new on the road, they are never that bright. And there's clearly been some sort of destruction, so you want to knock it down a little bit with the wash. And that looks pretty good. Now, there's definitely a red tentacle there, so I need to put a little bit of red on it. It does not have to be super bright because it is on the ground. Yeah, did I miss that? That looks good. The stripe looks good. Might be a little too heavy on part of it, but. So I used a dustier kind of yellow. I used this Averland Sunset, which is a color I like. It's this highlight on these guys was, I believe, Averland Sunset. And it looks very bright on here on the edges, you know. Okay, back to the red. Okay. So I did use a little bit of the shade. I used this shade on the lower tentacle here to give it some darker, and I might go a little bit more on it. And this is a replacement for like inks. Back in the day, you'd use inks, and some paint, like, or many of the flashing hanging off there. But these are okay. The shades are nice. They also sent all of, so they sent me some paints. They sent me the second wave of paints, and then all of the washes, and they're great. You know, I think they do a good job. I really do like the contrast paints. I think they're real strong. But I will say that the Army Painter ones are pretty great too. I don't have a lot, you know, I don't have a lot of them, but and I haven't had them very long. I did paint Luke Cage's shirt yellow with a yellow that I got on there, because they finally have good yellows on the I mean, the first one, and I don't know, there might have been another one that I didn't catch. But I bought the Iandin yellow, which is very orange, but when you use the contrast paint medium on it, it makes it a much brighter yellow. And so that was the beginning of that stuff. But they did not have a great yellow, in my opinion. It was okay. So I used, at the time, I used the transparent yellow from Monument Hobbies as my way to pop out that yellow potentially, and it worked. Cool. He looks great. I wish I was doing both of them at the same time, or all three of them. I could be doing the other one. So I'm kind of knocking that down, and I don't really want to knock it down too much. I'm just trying to fix some of my sloppiness with the blacks. So this black I'm using is the Legion, Black Legion, which was one of the new ones, and it's great. I really like the old black too, the Black Templar, but they're both different. I feel like the Black Legion is like a cooler black, and the Black Templar is a warmer black, but they're pretty darn black. So meaning there's a little bit of intensity to them. Wow, these teeth are just not great. I probably should have, I didn't really notice, but I should have probably tried to sharpen them up a little bit. I think I did these opposite, the bottom teeth, the opposite of what they're supposed to be. So let's fix that up. Oh no, duh, I did that on purpose. Although, really, well, who knows. I'll leave it as it is a little bit. Because the mouth is the bottom jaw, but the problem is it's on the other side that the highlight is. So maybe I fix the upper ones. Anyway, let's paint the black rim. So the way I do these is I have a dowel. This I've been using for years. I cut up a dowel a long time ago, and it's been used to use poster tack. I am essentially using that still. I also use Quake Hold, but then that way I have access to the whole thing and I can paint it all at once. And generally, I learned this method that I do where you paint the black first and then you paint one of the contrast blacks over it, and it's pretty strong. Now you'll see it looks great, but painting this black rim will do a tremendous bump up in the visual quality of it. You don't have to do black. A lot of people do different styles. I like black for the rims. It's something I've done forever. I mean, you saw there's the one I painted back in the day, and I painted it black. So you kind of want to move fast because you don't want to tear. Hey, that tablet turned on. You don't want to tear the film that is developing right now. I'm probably going too slow because then it won't be smooth. I'll try my best here. I find for me that I'm faster going this way for whatever reason. Maybe because I'm right-handed and I'm brushing it on there. But you can see it's already dry. That's how fast this stuff is drying here. Now if I do it lightly, then it won't matter because it's not wet. So it should blend pretty good. But I generally try to get there as quickly as I can. It really depends again on the weather. For us, it's pretty dry right now. Now I should not be touching this because it's going to show, right? You really don't want to do it, but I was trying to fix a part that I missed. Do your best, don't foul it up if you can. And then putting the contrast paint over it gives it it smooths it out. So it really does help. And this isn't terrible, but it's not the best paint job I've ever done on the rim. But it will be dry so fast that I can actually put the black on. So that's the black. I've been doing black Templar on these. This is the color. I think that's what my biggest use of this black is, but just doing the rims. It's crazy how fast the paint's dry here. Now, with these palettes, this is great because I just leave it and then you can see it's already starting to peel. It's very easy to pop them off. Let's see here, I can peel off this little bit here. And you see, normally, I mean, once it's dry, I just press it and it will pop off almost all of the paint. Depends on how thick it is. The standard acrylics are fantastic. They really come off easily. The contrast paints, they are not quite as speedy to pop off. They sometimes shatter and you have to like really work it, but it depends. If it's thick, which, you know, don't waste your paint if you can help it. But also don't be too worried about it. It's not that expensive. So, I was using this number 2, or no, is this number 2 or number 1? Or is this the 0? That's a 1. I don't know that there's any zeros with this one. These are the inexpensive brushes I bought one set from eBay and one set from Amazon. And they were, I think, cheaper on Amazon. I believe I got 144 brushes for $25 or so. And I paid nearly 40, I think, on eBay. Both deals are great. It's a lot of brushes. These are the small ones are not good. The bristles are too small. Now it's good for this, but the bristles are too short. It doesn't have a good enough point. Some of them do of the 1, but the 3, 4, 5, and 6s are pretty great. And not all of them are going to be great. You know, you're getting inexpensive brushes. They're 30-some cents a bottle, a brush, I mean, or something like that. So now I'm going to stop because it looks like it's wet right there, and I'm not sure where I started, but I do not want to tear it. Now, for whatever reason, the contrast paints level a little better in some ways on this. But that is done. So yeah, you see this paint, for whatever reason, I mean, it's wetter. It takes longer time to dry, which is cool. Means that you have a little bit of time to like work on it. You know, you basically want to, when you're painting contrast paints, you want, this many is not that, but if you're doing a large area, you just want to work on it all together at once as quickly as you can while it's wet, and then continue to move around so that you got good coverage. and then go from there, right? You can, that would be your first coat, but you see, look how quickly it's drying. You can't see this. This palette is not good background. It's drying relatively quickly. There's a few little wet spots there, maybe, that you can see. But that looks great. He really turned out neat. I probably could do a little bit more on the tentacles, but there you can see this one coat of orange brought them out brighter on the top, and this head has a little bit of brightness, you know, like the sun coming down on it. I still need to varnish, which I won't do for at least a day or two. Put that here to dry. But man, that turned out great. I really need to make thumbnails for these and take photos of them so that I can show what I'm working on, because the thumbnails are pretty terrible. They're either bad photos of the miniatures, you know, just screen captures, or me, and I'm not really the exciting part. Hey, Time Roller. But the minis are cool. I'm real happy with the Ant-Man. He has not been varnished yet. And I actually want to try, so my plan is to mix satin, no, matte with ultra matte, and then I'm going to try to airbrush it. I have only ever airbrush varnished a couple times, and usually I've rattle canned it back in the day. But I want to try to get a close to, not ultra matte. Ultra matte's awesome. Let me see if I have the one here that it doesn't, it's not great. This isn't ultra matte. I think one of them I did it in ultra matte and one of them I didn't. Oh no, the coat is ultra matte. It's just been handled too much. But it's pretty great. Now, I like the fabrics to be matter. That's what they should be. I mean, depending on the type of fabric. But, and you know, then I might change the color of the hair. Now, she's leather, right? So I have a sheen to that. Then I have, don't know that I actually used a varnish. I mean, I used a varnish. If I used a gloss, I don't even have a gloss. I think I might have used satin on her hair. Satin's pretty shiny for me. Let me see, what else have I got over here that's varnished? That looks pretty good. Here's the other Ant-Man. They're both very similar. This one's varnished. And so, oh, the little hairs. See, this is what worries me about, like the dust and stuff on these things. Oh, wow. There's a blue dot on there. I don't know that let's look at that. I didn't do it on the other one. I didn't do them at the same time, so. And I followed everything. It's not really a blue dot. I did it on him for whatever reason. On the miniature, it's just a gray dot. But he turned out cool. I don't remember which copper I used. So there's two different ones, and they look pretty good. But I will varnish him up and he'll look great. Did I varnish Daredevil? I don't feel like I did. He should not be over there. But he turned out neat. I don't want to handle them too much. That's the problem. And you kind of want to do it with a heavier varnish. So maybe multiple coats would be good if you're using a matte or ultra matte. The shinier, the more gloss varnishes last longer. And I watched Goobertown Hobbies had a video where he was, I think this is a couple years ago, where he's trying different levels of varnish. And hey David, how you doing? And he was showing, like, he was handling them with let me just swap. He was handling them with Funyuns, on his hands. Like, he was painting them, varnished them, then he rotated them around, moving them, moving them in sequence for a long time. It was a really amazingly involved experiment he did there to see how they worked. And sprayed on varnishes worked better than brushed on varnishes, which is kind of shocking to me. It means I would think that, you know, brushing it on you'd be putting it on thicker. So I'm not really certain what the deal was, but I mean, he's like varnish no matter what. That's really what you need to do. But I want to try airbrushing, and I want to do it in the right weather, and right now is the right weather. It's not too hot and it's not too humid. We actually have a cool weekend ahead of us, so or relatively cool. So I'm gonna try to do that. Oh, you know what? I should have painted. I have some time. I didn't paint the bases for. He's not really done though, but he's close. Blade. Let me cut back to the table. Oops. But yeah, I'd like to try that. I want to try airbrushing it. I guess you can use any airbrush. You know, that was another thing I was always worried about because varnish dries very quickly. But someone was saying that it's one of the videos I watched. They're like, it's not a big deal to use your airbrush to varnish. But I would like to. This whole social security number thing is really bad news. I didn't do any. Well, I could still do that, but there's a grate that I would probably like to put a little bit of a metallic finish to it. But I like the bases to be kind of similar. It's funny, I didn't actually base that Eldar. I know I based the dark Eldar. I put sand or something in gravel or kitty litter or whatever. But I like him to be gray. It was funny, I was watching Adam when we had, during the pandemic, we had a virtual con that we had things happening kind of 24 hours a day. And Adam was, before we started our live streaming, he would paint minis on the stream. That was, I believe, how he started to paint minis on stream. I think I was the one that got him to try it because he was just streaming video games. I'm having a problem. I can't stop. Okay, I'm going to stop there. This is Tabletop Minions. And he was saying that he paints his bases gray, basically because he wants them to, he feels it's the most neutral base that can work on a lot of different surfaces, and especially because I think he prefers, I mean, he doesn't have any preference to game, but he might prefer wrecked terrain, you know, like explosions or something like that, and you could probably do that for fantasy and sci-fi. So, but I was like, yeah, that's kind of how I feel about it. I felt that I wanted the focus to be on the miniature, not the base. Now, again, I will do some things, like there was a street light on one of them, and I could not resist painting it a little bit. What do I have to do? I see Luke Cage didn't get done. I really wished I'd primed. I wish I had all 3 of them to do that. Carnage at the same time, because man, I do not relish doing another one right now. I mean, obviously I'll wait, but yipes, it was hard. Hey, thanks for the follow, Red Rover Cat. I'm getting close to being done for the night. We'll see if somebody else is painting tonight. Wapelius, if he's painting, I will absolutely take us over there. So I can see there's like a hair on this, which I saw when I was going on. I did not know exactly what was going on, but is it really a hair? Yes, it is a hair. Who knows what it's from? It could be me. It could be dust. That's terrible. It did come off though, but I'm not going to touch it. I'll come back to it when it's dry. It'll be okay. It always ends up being, I should always start on the back. I don't have that in my brain, but because I don't care if it has like layer issues or something like that when I get around to the back. It's not such a big deal. So what was the one I painted first? Oh, it was Carnage. He looks pretty good. It's a pretty decent. Now, I didn't do a great job here filing down that little injection point, but once you put the varnish on, they'll be pretty good. Wow, it's 8. I gotta call my mom here in a few. Yeah, we gotta, this Social Security thing's bad news, man. It's really a mess. And they're not really talking about it. It really is a bummer. Well, I will do... Oh, you know, I didn't do his base yet either. I'm gonna wait. I definitely want to wash it. I did wash... I did wash Blade. So I'll wait on Luke Cage. Well, I guess that's it. I will be back on Tuesday morning with a stream, paint stream, or we might do a game night. There's a chance because we are likely filming on Thursday next week, which would be a game night evening stream, and we will not, if we're doing that, maybe we'll come on with Dave and, you know, whoever's here, maybe do a stream, but I think we're probably going to end up filming game nights. We actually need... We have a few episodes in the can, but we really sort of need some new stuff for. We will be gone in Germany, and then we also have BGG Con coming up, which is in November, and we're in August. But we have to think in those terms. We have 1 month to get a bunch of things ready, and then we have 3 weeks or something, or 2.5 weeks or something like that in LA before we go back to Dallas. So it's not a lot. So we have September, October, half of November, and another 8 days or something like that here, 10 days. So yeah, it's tough. There's a lot of, we have to take advantage of anybody having the time to come over. I also want to contact Aaron and see if he's available. He might be very busy with the election. So we will see. I mean, he will be, if that's what he's still working on. It will absolutely be a very busy event for sure, and hopefully everything will go smoothly. And he, I'm just hoping we actually got lucky and were able to get him for a few things. I was very happy for us to all do Arkham Horror, the card game, Edge of the Earth. That was really fun. And we actually had a problem filming the first film. We filmed it twice, which is unfortunate. but Aaron caught it, and I thought, well, that's a bummer. We're not going to get to use that because he was going to be very busy for the next few months. And we lucked out, and he was able to. We were able to reshoot the part that we had a problem with, and we almost filmed it twice essentially, and that was great. It was really fun. I would love to play that more often. It's a challenge to get it to the table because it would be great if we played it more often because we'd just be good with it, but we just can't always do that. It's tough. Anyway, hopefully, hey Circe, you're crazy busy, David. Yeah, same here. When you release millions of people's data, how can you defend yourself? Yep. And they just can't say whoops, big comfort. I've had to change 3 cards in the last year, and it took 3 months to get those bottom feeders out of my Amazon account. It was terrible. Wow. I'm nervous. We haven't dealt with it. We need to lock down our social security numbers, and we all should. It's a very unfortunate and scary situation, and I don't quite understand. I heard it was not social security. It was like some. Why do they even have all that information? I don't know. I don't really know. I didn't really pay attention. I just know that I'm frustrated with it all. But yeah, we need to check it out. Scott has had problems with it. Not this, but in general, he has LifeLock going, which maybe we need to go to that. I don't know. Anyway, we will definitely be back on to. Wow. See, this is, I do not like Siri. Somehow I said something that made it think, nobody, cancel. We'll do either more, I'll do more painting or we'll play something on GameNight. I will make sure we change the schedule at boardgamegeek.com/live. You can go see most schedules. I don't have, Bonzinator's been busy and she was away this week, so she's not up. And she basically gets me stuff on a weekly basis. But others have like a standing, this is what I'm working on. I'll let you know if I have any information about what game I'm playing. I would prefer we do it, and I can't give them much grief because we have a hard time doing it too. We're never 100% certain what we might feature. Wow, look at that. See, it's peeling up. Well, you can't see it. That is amazing. Anyway, have a great weekend. Hopefully we'll get to see you again next week. And again, I will update. Most likely we will not be streaming next Thursday. We really need to take advantage of the people being here. Dave's in town, so we're really excited about that. And it's been more than a month, I think, since we've seen him. And hopefully everybody has a great one. Let's see if there's somebody we can raid. Boy, these songs are kind of like weird, abrupt. Let's go to the... Wow. I don't think I actually did the update on... I didn't do the update on the video feed. That's going to be great. So what I do is I copy and paste from Twitch to my YouTube one, and I didn't save it on Twitch, so I'm gonna have to edit that. Let's see what they have. Hey, it looks like Wapelius is up, if I'm correct. Yes. So let's see if I can go. Wapelius paints with oil paints, and he is an amazing, amazing painter. You should check him out. I don't understand this. Creator dashboard. Let's see. They've got all these new things that they're telling us about. This is not it. Oh, Stream Manager. That'll do it. Probably. Wow. I would like to know about these things, but I don't want to do it now. So hopefully we can raid Wapelius. He's fantastic. I've watched him paint a whole mini with oil paints in one sitting, right? Because you can just keep blending, right? They don't dry instantaneously. Oh man, I better find him. This is really a bummer. Maybe I can search it. Yeah, something's wrong with this stuff. It's under what we follow. Wapelius. Okay, fantastic. Say hello for me. He doesn't necessarily know who I am, but we do raid whenever he's streaming and we stream. He's amazing. He's now painting some sort of... Oh my gosh, he's so good. Anyway, sorry for the YouTube folks. You can't do it. But you should go check out Twitch Wappelius, Wappellious. He is an amazing painter. Amazing painter. Does full minis in one sitting that look phenomenal. Anyway, thanks for the follow. Let's see if I can see that. Synthetic Life, is that what it is? Yes. Thanks for the follow. Have a great one, guys. And say hello on the raid. And hello, thanks to everybody on YouTube as well. Thanks for the follows and everything. This is great. Is it going to go? Nope, it's getting ready to go. It's going to raid in 2 seconds. Click it. Click if you want to go through. Take care, everybody. Have a great one. And thank you, everybody, on YouTube and everything. I'm sorry. Wow, I'm having a problem here. Goodness gracious. I don't know what I did here. Let me go to... You can tell I'm so good with the Mac. Anyway, take care, everybody. Have a good one. Bye-bye.